Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Am I the Jerk? Our first post is by Watch the Kids AITA. Am I the jerk for canceling the babysitter after my wife decided not to attend my work holiday party? My 38M work held our annual holiday party last Friday. It was held at one of those axe-throwing places which I had never done before, so I figured it would be pretty fun. My wife, 36F, and I have 3 kids, 10, 8, and 5, so we don't get out of the house for dates very often. The holiday party was planned almost 2 months ago, and my wife agreed to attend with me. I suggested we make it more of a date by either going out for drinks after the party or catching a late-night movie. She thought this was a good idea too. I also arranged for a babysitter to come watch the kids for that night. The day of the party, my wife got home from work and told me that she had a horrible day and was in a bad space mentally, so she didn't want to come to the party. I told her I was disappointed, but I understand if she wants to stay home. As I was getting myself ready to head to the party, I called the babysitter and canceled. I apologized to her and offered to Venmo her an hour's worth of our agreed rate, $30, to compensate for the cancellation, and she agreed that was reasonable. As I was getting ready to leave, my wife asked when the babysitter was going to come. I kind of looked at her funny and told her I had just canceled the babysitter because she was no longer coming with me. She got mad at me and told me that I knew she had a bad day and was in a bad mental state and needed some time to herself. I told her that I had assumed none of that meant she was incapable of watching our kids, and that I didn't think having the babysitter come when my wife was still home made any sense at all. She told me to call her back and see if she could still come watch the kids, and I told her that if she wanted to do that she can do it, but I'm not going to. She tried to argue with me about it, but I told her that I had to leave for the party. While I was at the party, she sent me multiple texts about how the kids were driving her nuts, and that the babysitter didn't answer her calls and she needed me to come home. She kept blowing up my phone, and I eventually left the party over an hour early to go home. When I got there, she kept arguing with me about how I was a jerk for canceling the babysitter when I knew she had a rough day. I told her I was not going to pay a babysitter just so that my wife can rest after a bad day. I told her she could have just thrown a movie on for the kids and relaxed. I told her she was the one who ruined our potential night out, and that having a bad day at work is not a good enough reason to pay a babysitter $150 to $200. Edit. Hey everyone, can we cool it with the purely speculative cheating angle? My wife goes to yoga class with 5 other moms from our neighborhood. So unless they are all stepping out on their husbands or all in cahoots together, she's not cheating. Our neighborhood isn't a reality TV show and real life isn't like that. She's an introvert, and when she gets to her social limit, she doesn't want to go out. It's happened before, which is why I didn't push her to come out with me. Our next post is by Hopeful Ad. Am I the jerk for telling my stepdaughter's bio dad this is why I am her real dad? I am 39, have known my wife for 10 years now, married for 7. When I met her, she had a 3-year-old daughter, now 13. I always made it a point to treat her as I would my own kid, and we became close pretty quickly. When she was around 4, she even started calling me daddy. Her biological dad comes in and out of my stepdaughter's life. She calls us both dad, but she usually around the house with my wife and I refers to him as his first name. Well, last night she was visiting with her bio dad when I got a text from my stepdaughter wondering if I could pick her up. Well, I got there, she was sitting outside with her bio dad holding her arm. She came over to my car and told me she was messing around with a skateboard and fell on her arm. Her arm was bruised, swollen, and hard for her to move. I asked her bio dad why didn't he call my wife. He said, I don't think it's that bad, she's just being dramatic. My stepdaughter just looked at me and said, Dad, can we just please go? I'm in a lot of pain. As she was getting in the car, I told her bio dad, see, this is why I'm her real dad, not you. I actually care for her and her well-being. Later that night, my wife got an angry text from bio dad calling me a jerk, and my wife kinda agrees that I was being a jerk at that moment. Daughter actually did break her arm, but her bio dad wasn't going to do anything about it. I'm the one who was in the ER with her until 1 a.m. Also, I would like to add, I don't call her my stepdaughter, instead I call her my daughter just for the sake of the post. I figured it would be easier. Our next post is by Prudent Mom. Am I the jerk for disinviting my brother-in-law from Christmas because he keeps telling my son to call me by my first name? My husband has 3 brothers. Charlie and Mike are in their 30s, while Spencer is 5 years old. Spencer is their half-brother from their dad's second marriage. Their father passed away shortly after Spencer was born. 2 years ago, Spencer's mother went to prison. My husband and I began fostering him. It didn't take long for him to actually feel like our son. As it was, my husband and Spencer didn't have a very brotherly relationship given the 30-year age gap. He already was more of an uncle. 6 months ago, Spencer's mom lost her parental rights. My husband and I have been working on adopting him. It should be finalized after Christmas. Spencer is so excited. He's been calling us Mama and Daddy for a little over a year now. So this is just basically all legal, not changing how we feel in our hearts. Charlie and Mike have been supportive of the whole ordeal for the most part, but we faced a road bump recently. When Spencer began calling us Mama and Daddy, Charlie found it odd. He said that we weren't his parents. I said legally, yes we are. I said he doesn't have to be Uncle Charlie if he doesn't want to be, but we are raising him. Charlie says that we're basically erasing their dad from Spencer's life. I said no, we talk about him and Spencer's bio mom often. This won't be a secret. As it is, Spencer is very smart and is aware that he only came to live with us 2 years ago. Mike and my husband have both told Charlie to let it go. I've noticed, however, that when talking to Spencer, he refers to me and my husband by our first names. Or he'll say, ask your brother, referring to my husband, or go show your sister-in-law when referring to me. Spencer is confused because he knows my husband is his brother, but he doesn't look at him like that. We've tried talking to him about it, but Charlie claimed it's force of habit. We were trying to let it go, but then one day Charlie corrected Spencer when he called me Mama, and said, no, that's Kate. Spencer got confused and said, no, that's Mama. Charlie told him that I'm not his mother. This only upset Spencer further. I've had enough, frankly. Spencer is our son. We have him in therapy and have also asked Charlie and Mike to attend family therapy with us. Only Mike has agreed. I told my husband that I don't want Charlie at Christmas we're hosting if he's just going to upset Spencer and undermine our place as his parents. My husband said it's completely up to me. So I told Charlie either he stops correcting Spencer or he can't come. Now Charlie is mad and says I'm keeping his brothers from him at Christmas. I said if my husband wants, he can go visit him. And if he wants to see Spencer, he can promise to stop undermining my place. Charlie called me dramatic. Mother-in-law wants all of her boys at Christmas and says that I can put up with it for just one day. She said it's hard for her to be around Spencer, but she does it for us, so I can put up with Charlie and see his side. Am I the jerk? Edit. To add, my husband has been advocating for Spencer and does stand up to his family. It's not just me. Our next post is by Lonely Breath. Am I the jerk for telling my sister-in-law that I will not accommodate her food allergies and she doesn't have to come? Don't know if I am the jerk or not for this. Usually my mom will host for Christmas, but this year she just can't keep up. My sister-in-law has been in the family for years and in my opinion she is a food snob. She has multiple allergies, nothing life-threatening, just unpleasant for her. Since we all understand allergies, we make sure to keep everything separate and not cross-contaminate. We don't want to risk her eating something and instead of getting a rash, she needs a hospital visit. Now the reason I think she is a food snob isn't due to her allergies, it's nitpicking the dish mom makes each year. I have watched year after year she makes backhanded comments about the food. My mom told me to stay out of it, so I did. 2 years ago there was a mess up and it caused a reaction. It was a huge deal, and last year my mom wanted her to bring her own dish, since she was worried she would mess up again. This caused a huge fight between them and she threatened to pull the grandkids away if she couldn't be a good host and give something she could eat. My mom caved. The dinner came and went and she got backhanded comments about the food. My mom can't host anymore, and none of my brothers were doing it, so I stepped up. I gave sister-in-law a call and told her she needs to bring her own meal. I told her I am not experienced handling allergies and I cannot guarantee the food will be safe, so I will not make her something. I didn't tell her, but the other reason was I don't want her crying about my food. This caused an argument about me being a horrible host. I made it clear I wouldn't accommodate her and she doesn't have to come. My brother is pissed, but my mom laughed when I told her. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.